Sure, I'm recording. Okay, we are recording. Okay, you ready? Did you fix your hair the way you like?
Keeps falling flat. I want it to stick out. Okay, I'm all set.
Okay, cool.
Thanks. Okay.
Hello, everyone. It's Monica Crow, and today I'm speaking with Jessica Kupferman of Badass Biz. Yes, and Jessica went from corporate rule breaking and feather ruffling to create a well-known digital marketing company that helps technically timid entrepreneurs learn and conquer their online tools in new and fun ways. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about your business. You help people with their websites, and just go into a little bit. Tell us more about what you do.
Sure. Well, I started out as a print designer when I started my own business. I went back to school for print design, and then when I was doing that, a lot of clients were asking for web, so I sort of schmoozed my way into web design. And then when I conquered that, people were starting to really get into social media. So I always notice that people have the three things, but they don't necessarily know how to marry them together, or they keep them really separate. So I sort of created a personal mission to just help people have everything together, have it all have a consistent message, a consistent look. And I find that a lot of times people don't have those things because they're afraid, they don't know how to use those tools. So part of it is empowering people to not feel technically timid, as you said. So
Got it. Have you, sorry, have you found that there is a particular demographic that is more afraid of technology than another?
No, not necessarily. Although I prefer working with women, so I would have to say I notice that more in women. Although there are men who, they really do approach it differently. I have to say, men who are not technical make it as if they can't be bothered, where women always act like they're too stupid to learn how to do it, which is never true. Of course it's not true.
Right.
I just feel like if you can work your cell phone, you can work your computer and and your Facebook or whatever, but then they always come back to me with, well, I can't work my cell phone either. So,
Oh,
but men are the same. Men just act like they're too busy to be bothered. Women
yeah,
always act like, it's their fault, like they have some kind of deformity or something. But the truth is that unless you have time or have taken the time to really dive into learning those tools, you just don't. Like
exactly.
anything else.
That's the bottom line right
You
there.
don't cook, you can't use the oven. That's how it works, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, as far as the websites go, what kinds of mistakes do you tend to see people making? You did mention that, the branding is not quite congruent. Is there
Yes.
anything else?
As a designer, I realize I've become very nitpicky over the years, but I would say that there are some really common things that people can do to make their sites go from fat to fabulous, as they say. But one of the main things is just, center text is one of those things that make sites look really unprofessional.
Okay.
I find that people make things look like an invitation because they feel like it's more formal, but the truth is that the eye, as a writer, they want to read from left to right. They don't want to lead from left and then in and then out and then in and then out. It ends up being more of a skimmable piece when you do that.
Mhm.
So I always recommend aligning left. I always recommend images on the right because it interrupts that whole, typewriter reading thing that people want to do. Fonts, I feel like a lot of times people don't match fonts. They don't pay attention to what fonts they have. So 2 to 3 fonts maximum is what they should be. And none of them should be similar. So if you're using what's called a serif, and serifs are the ones that look like, just for your audience, they're the ones that are a bit, look like book print. So they have little tags on the T's. They have little edges. So Times New Roman, Georgia, those are serifs.
Right.
You pair a serif with a sans serif, a nice round font like Arial. Although that one is a little overused for my taste, but it still looks nice. Usually 1-in-1 is good, and then maybe a display font, which is, if you want to do a fancy script for your name, or if you want to do more of a designy type font, use that for the header, but make sure that your stuff is readable. And to me, if you have two sans, if you have an Arial and a trebuchet, to me that's so distracting. It looks like one person designed this part and one person designed this part. So that's a big, to me, those are huge mistakes.
Yeah.
Also, I think not collecting email addresses is a huge mistake. If you
Oh,
have a website and you don't have an opt-in where people can sign up for a newsletter, even if you don't send a newsletter, like that
yeah.
doesn't matter. They're not going to know or even remember. But if you're not collecting email addresses, then you don't have a specific list to sell to, and that means, you're missing out on that door-to-door sales thing that you can't do with your social media. You have no idea if people are going to be online, if they're going to look at what you're posting on Facebook or Twitter. With email, you're right at their door, and
Absolutely.
they have an opportunity to read it at their leisure, of course, but at least you're right in their inbox.
Yes.
That's really important. I wish more people would blog for their business. I think people do struggle a lot with content, and I wish that they would, I don't know, be creative, use video. The more creative you are, I think the more successful your website is, because it does
Yeah.
help with traffic. I don't know. I like a good slider. I don't like too much text. I like pictures. Pictures, breaking things up, definitely using headlines and bold and italics to break things up. I hate when people use underline on their websites and it's not linked. That's a big no-no, because
Okay.
I know I'm like throwing so much at you at one time. I'm so sorry. But like when you underline text on a website for emphasis, people are always going to think that's a link. In fact, even if
Oh,
now, to me, it's a no-no even in print now, because we're so muscle memoried into wanting to click on anything underlined that even if it's on paper, you shouldn't do it, because it just looks unprofessional to me. I use bold and italics for
okay.
emphasis now.
Good deal.
Um, let's see. I think I've pretty much spewed it all out in 2 seconds.
Okay, so to recap, you want to use different types of fonts, serif and sans serif in pairing.
Right.
You can have a third, and it can be scripty or something fun, right?
For long.
Um, photos to the right.
Yes.
Everything text goes to the left,
Yes.
and opt-in box is a must. Totally, totally agreed on all of the above.
Yes.
What else? Is there anything else that I missed?
No underlining text,
No
and
underlining
break
text.
up break up long pages of text with pictures and headlines.
Absolutely. Love it. Great.
Thank you for recapping that. You did it a lot more succinctly than I did, but
Well, no, I'm just paraphrasing. That's all.
no, that's fine.
I'm putting the bullet points on.
Yes, thank
So.
you. That's why they pay you the big bucks, Monica.
So what do you think people should have on their business homepages to get people to get engaged? Because, a lot of times people will end up on your homepage and they'll know immediately, this isn't for me, or this doesn't look professional, so I'm out of here. So
Right.
what can people do to really convey professionalism and, hey, you want to dig deeper into my website?
Um, I think that making your navigation really easy. Don't make it cute. A lot of people will make their services, like if, for example, they're a life coach, their services link will be listed like, who am I? And, if you are a person who already thinks you know who you are, you're not going to click that. Whereas like services is really straightforward. So
Yeah.
I think people should always be straightforward with their navigation. And in addition, your website is no longer just your digital brochure. It can now be a place for you to sell and make money. So even if you're a coach, even not just having the navigation and the introduction is not enough. To me, I think you need compartments on there for what you're selling. I sell life coaching, health coaching, and 15-minute consultation or whatever. And if they can break it out into services and make it real easy for the eye to go to what they want quickly, it's important. So that's how I think a professional site is. If I look on there and I see not just an even the introduction is secondary. Who you are, believe it or not, is secondary to what you offer the audience.
Absolutely.
You really do have to play to what they want.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, when I'm designing a site, I usually do ask the questions, what do we want them to do and what do they want to do? And both those things are important. But honestly, reading about your whole history on the homepage is like not as important as what you can offer them as far as help.
Right. It comes down to, so what? As a
Yes.
writer, this is
Yes.
something that has been drilled into me personally. from my days as a newspaper reporter and just, learning the craft. You always want to write with a so what,
Right.
that's what people are going to ask.
Why do they
Um,
care? Why do they
yeah,
care?
why
Right.
do I care
Right.
about all your titles or whatever? What value can you give me? That's key.
Right. And especially on the web where you have what? I mean, in email, you have 7 seconds to get their attention. I think on the website, it's like 10.
Yeah.
So you have 10 seconds to grab their attention or they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
So
For good, forever.
forever. Right. So
Unless,
it's really
unless you capture their email address, in
right.
which
And
case they would have to stay a little longer.
well, right. They'd stay a little longer and, hopefully they'd get something useful for free. So that's important too. Like a great thing for an opt-in is to offer them something useful to make them want to give you their email address. And then the website, maybe they'll read what they've been given, come back to the website and see what you can do for them once they realize what a genius you are. Right.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, definitely the homepage has got to be, how can you help me?
Yep.
And I think that makes it really professional. That and a good design. Don't hack your design. That's terrible.
Yeah, bad design just implies poor, I don't know, it makes you feel like the person is unprofessional. If the design is unprofessional, then the business must be as well. That's just what goes through my mind.
Yes.
Not even actively, it's a subconscious thing. I see a bad website and I'm like, I'm out of here. And
even if you think your website looks good, but it hasn't been redesigned since 2003, 2005, it's no longer good. It's no longer appropriate. Website design has changed so much, and really design needs to be happening every 2 to 3 years in order for it to stay current.
Oh, nice. Good key. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay, so let's move on to social media.
Okay.
What's something that business owners need to know about social media that a lot of them tend to overlook?
For me, it's about being personal. I feel like too many people separate their personal and their business. They want to have a personal profile for just these people, and they want to have a business page for just these people, and never the two shall meet. And I think that's a really big mistake. And the reason I think that is because I find that I get much more interaction on my personal profile. And I also find that I get much more support and attention from people that I connect with, like through business, on my personal profile as well.
Really?
Yeah. So like, for example, I find that the people that I like meet either online or through a networking thing, if I friend them on my personal page and I say, what am I going to make for dinner tonight? I find that those people tend to respond because, they're actually trying to get to know me in a different way. Mm-hmm. So it's more intriguing than answering your sister or your cousin who you've known your whole life. Like I'm more intriguing because we only know each other through business. So if I talk about where I'm traveling, what I did for the weekend, that it's my son's birthday, it's always a surprise because they don't know me that well.
Yeah.
So I tend to do that a lot. I don't post as much as I used to, but I tend to post, and I always try to be interesting. I don't post the mundane BS of my day, where I'm going, where I've been. If I'm going to see a movie, I will only post after what I thought of the movie. Like I don't say, going to see this, bye, because you're not saying anything.
Right.
What you're doing at that moment is not really saying anything. What you think about what you've done, to me, is way more interesting.
Yeah.
That's just a side note. But
I like that. That's a good key tip.
Yeah, I mean, for posting on social media, definitely. But so I saw this guy, and I don't know if your audience is familiar with Harrow, Help a Reporter Out, which is it's a site where people can get media questions every day, like things that reporters are looking for in the media. So I saw the founder speak. His name is Peter Shankman, and I saw him speak locally. And he said that when someone friends him on Facebook or LinkedIn, he immediately goes and looks them up on Facebook because everyone's on their best behavior on LinkedIn. But everyone is on their best behavior on Facebook. And so to him, that's like where you really get to know someone. And I totally agree. I think but it doesn't have to be that way if you can be your authentic self everywhere.
Right.
You can put out a little bit of what's really you everywhere, as long as you can be, positive. I mean, I just wonder, do people like separate it so that on their personal profiles they can complain? Because you really should anyway. You know what I mean?
I'm going to weigh in on this.
Okay.
I get a ton of friend requests on my personal profile when really these are people who are interested in my business page, right? So you were just saying that people like split those up unnecessarily.
Yes.
Well, the reason why I don't accept friend requests from people I don't know is because I want to see what's going on with the people I do know. And since the feed is going to move a lot more quickly, if I have like 300 or 500 friends, I'm not going to be able to keep track of my family and my really close friends and what they're doing and what's up with them. And that's why I like to keep it personally separate. So.
That's true, but I use lists. So I can.
Oh, okay.
I use lists so that, and I have a family list, and when I click on that, I only see the people on those feeds. And when I click on high school, I only see the people on those feeds. So
Game
that
changer.
that way I can friend, like, for example, our HHB school, like we're in B school, and I have probably 400 girls that I've friended on there just through that, but they're all on one list. And yes, those people would, they do tend to, new people that you don't know in person, they do tend to hog the feed because you can't see everybody.
Yeah.
If you use lists and click on those lists, it's much easier. And that way, and I do still, once I friend them, it's very easy to suggest that page to your friends. Mm-hmm. You can't do that if you're not connected personally.
Okay.
So once you connect with them on your personal profile, it's very easy to go to your page and share it with those new connections. And that way you get more fans on your page. So that's my little strategy for that.
Well, you have just made things so much easier for me now.
I mean, it's going to be, I don't know how many friends you have, but that's going to be some maintenance to categorize them all. You have to make, then you got to put everyone in each category. But then once that's done, boy, your feeds are going to be you're going to be a lot happier with them.
Cool. Oh, all right. Thanks, Jess.
Glad you weighed in because that's a common thing people say.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. I'm hoping I'm not the only one who didn't know that.
No, that's very, very common.
So what about Pinterest? Is there like a echo or something?
No, the door just opened. Hold on one second.
We'll stop echo.
With what about Pinterest? Just give me 1 second.
Sure.
Hello.
Hello.
What's up? You need to get your medicine?
Yeah.
Okay.
And a bathing suit.
And a bathing suit. You guys can go to the pool. Just write down. I have a guest pass. He will. Are you listening to me, Rob?
What?
He'll put his name and then put one guest, and then you tell the lifeguard that you're a guest of his under Kupferman, and I have a card there that they punch. Okay? Are you taking Emily tonight?
I don't know. Where's she at?
She's at Rosenblum for another hour.
I brought this to Scott.
But Scott and I are both going to be in Philly tonight for different reasons. He has a meeting till 7, and I have dinner at 7. So it'll be...
Wait a minute. Scott's going to be home after 7, though, right?
He should be home around 8. Sorry, Monica.
And you have to leave at 7?
I have to leave at like 6:30.
You can go back in there by 7.
Nate, why can't she smoke? What are you talking about?
She can be by herself. I'm asking if you want to hang out with her. I don't care if she's by herself. I'm not asking you either, Nate. I'm asking your father. Rob, this is my friend Monica. Monica, this is my ex-husband, Rob.
Hello.
Hi.
We're doing interviews of each other. Are you still recording?
Yeah, I'll cut it out. It's cool.
She's recording this, so get the hell out.
All right.
Do a song and dance, and I'll put it in. There we go. Outtakes.
Hi. Should I have her call?
I need to call me when she gets home. I'll come and get her.
Okay, are you gonna be at the pool? Do you have a mobile phone?
Yeah, they sent me another phone.
So you have it on now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sounds good. Peace out, home slices. Oh yeah, he's his bathing suit. His son has a mop on his head like me, doesn't he?
What?
You see my son?
Yeah.
He's got a big mop on his head like me. He's no gel though, so it's a little wilder. He's not at the age where gel is important.
Oh.
It's not Bye guys. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I got to meet your family.
Yeah. He's not my husband. He's their we're divorced, but we've been divorced like 12, 13 years, I think.
Wow.
They were really, really little. And he works at Comcast, so he's off Tuesdays and Wednesdays, which is nice because during the summer he can hang out with them and go to the pool and stuff, and I can work, and I have days to work. And then on the weekend when he's working, I have days off and I can hang out with them. So it's kind of nice. They get like 4 full parenting summer fun days.
Cool.
Which is nice. So
Yeah. Hey,
So-
I was asking you, can you hear like a bouncing voice? Like I was hearing my I don't know, some reverb or something, like it was bouncing back at me, my voice. No?
It sounds okay to me. Are you hearing it when I talk?
No, just when I talk.
No, I mean it's a little echoey, but I think that's just the mic, just the computer mics.
Okay.
Is it bouncing? Did you hear it like that? I might have been tapping.
No, it's me. I can hear it, like, I'm talking in my mic now because it's working, but I can also hear it in my speakers on my computer. Like it's a delayed reaction through my speakers.
I don't hear that. Maybe your preferences again. You may have one set up to do one and one set up to do the other.
Okay. Well, anyhow, we shall commence.
I'm still fussing. Okay.
Okay. We ready?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm fast. Let's go. Okay.
All right. So, what about Pinterest? There's a lot of business owners who don't sell products but sell services, and they want to know. I want to know, how do I use Pinterest? How do we use Pinterest as service providers?
Common question. So, so Sammy and I created that. My business partner and I created a course around Pinterest and how you can use it no matter what business you are, and it's called Pinterruption. But basically, what we recommend is instead of putting pictures of products, you create like more of a visual online experience on Pinterest. So, for example, you're a service provider. As a writer, as a journalist, you must have like 100 things you see people do that's wrong, that gets on your nerves. Grammar, spelling, you must see it constantly. So make little tips, make little visual pins. Grammar, you know what I mean? I know you're not saying you can draw, but like if you could even make it a cartoon, that would be even better. But there's a site called shareasimage.com.
Okay.
And for free, or if you pay $2 for the pro version, you can pick a background, pick a font, and it's actually meant to easily share quotes, which would be another great way to make an experience on Pinterest. But if you're not doing that, you just put the text in. So it would be like tip number 1, your means this, and your RE means this, and just pin it. And people, you're not the only person that has that. So, that pet peeve. So other people will share it around. That's how, and then they'll come back to you. And then you get the traffic from Pinterest to your website. Hopefully you make every pin that you upload link back to your site, and it'll get you traffic. Another thing to do when you are doing your own pins is to make sure you watermark it, and we recommend PicMonkey.com because it's free. You can upload any image and put a little text at the bottom, so MonicaCrow.com at the bottom.
Right.
So tips and tricks is one way. Quotes is another way. We're just doing your Pinterest boards right now, but this really applies to any business. Your industry heroes, I guess. So for me, that's like Milton Glaser. He's a famous graphic designer. He did the I Love New York.
Yeah.
For you, famous journalists. I don't know if they're entertainment journalists, like maybe Diablo Cody, because she's like an entertainment journalist, and now she wrote Juno, and she did all this great stuff. So whoever you admire, making a board of the people that you most admire in your work, or even the people that you most admire in general.
Right.
Mahatma Gandhi or, Gene Simmons.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's like the personal stuff, places you've always wanted to visit, places you have visited, conferences that you're going to this year, amazing writing conferences all over the world, whether you're going or not. All kinds of visual stuff that you can find, even if it's not necessarily your services that you can post. And then the stuff that's yours, you link back. The other pictures, like if you're putting up Albert Einstein, it's got to lead back to where you got that photo. You don't pin Google Images, you pin from, alberteinstein.com or wherever you got the photo. That's just to keep things, photo accredited.
Right.
Otherwise, you're sort of, there's this whole copyright thing with Pinterest, and you don't want to be like stealing images off the internet. You want to, the way not to do that to me is to credit the source.
Right. And you credit the source whenever you pin it, and there's that little box, and you get to write a little blurb. Is that where you credit?
If you credit from the site, there's a little bookmarklet that you can put in your bookmark toolbar. When you are on a site like alberteinstein.com, if you hit the pin button and write in the description Albert Einstein rocks, that pin will be linked to that page.
Right.
That's how you credit the source.
Gotcha.
So in other words, if you do a search for Albert Einstein on Google Images and you pin from Google Images is what's getting credited, and that's not what you
And
want.
not the site.
You want to go, so like for example, for me, I have a board called Badass Chicks, and there's a picture of Pink and like Gwen Stefani. But where I got those pictures is I went to GwenStefani.com and went to her photo gallery and pinned from there. And I went to this website, went to the photo media press and pinned from there, so that I wasn't crediting like TMZ.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to get the pictures from the people who took those pictures, and it's like 2 minutes more work. You know, Google's your friend. It's not hard to
And
find.
you're covering your back for potential copyright.
Well, right. Well, even if they don't do that, I feel better about giving them the credit than whoever reposted it. So, and then when it's your stuff, the way that you do that is when you upload the pin and you edit the pin, there's a URL, and you put your URL in there so that your site is going to be visited when people are sharing those pins around.
All right.
Does that make sense?
All right. That answers all my questions. Well,
Oh, that was fast.
close to anyway.
I mean, there's lots of ways to get creative, but again, it's also Pinterest is, I think, right now also the best way to do the personal and business together, because if you feel like you're revealing so much on Facebook, Pinterest is a little less revealing in that way, because just saying places you visited, it is personal, but you're not saying anything about yourself by saying you've been to Greece or Italy, but it is interesting and intriguing about you. Or if you have recipes that you really like, or chandeliers, if you're a chandelier person, you know, that's interesting. It's not really revealing.
Mm-hmm.
It's still interesting, and it will give your audience like a Monica Crow experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
On Twitter and Facebook, because it's all words.
Yeah.
You know?
I love that. I'm converted to a total Pinterest fan now. So you and everyone are going to see new pins from me for sure.
Sorry, you're on Pinterest already, right?
I am. Yeah, I've been on it since they were beta testing, and I was doing it just for fun, for personal use. And as a business owner, I was like, what the heck do I do with Pinterest as a service provider? So, and you have answered that question for sure. So
Hey,
thank you.
Can't wait to see what you're gonna pin.
Yeah. So in closing, what social media are you loving right now, and what do you think is like must do, and what do you think is not as you must be on here?
Well, I'm going to say something very controversial.
Oh yes, please.
And the tools I like right now are Hootsuite and TweetAdder and Social Oomph.
Okay.
I use all of them, but even if you just use one, it's great. And here's what it's good for. Automating content. I think that is really important, because it really kills a lot of the overwhelm that people have about social media. Mm-hmm. So with Hootsuite, you can schedule like specific blogs to go out right when they're being posted. So Monica, not that this is a personal thing or anything, but like if I know you're putting out good content every week, I don't have to read it to know that my audience will love it. Mm-hmm. So I just put the RSS feed in, then every time you post, I tweet about it.
Nice.
Same thing with all your gurus, all the people that you follow, whether you're a social media person, you're following Maury Smith or Chris Brogan, or if you're a journalist and you always want to post whatever the Washington Post is posting, you put in their blog feed, Huffington Post, Washington Post, New York Times, and boom, you're tweeting every time they post. And you don't have to read it, you don't have to look at it, you don't have to click the share button, and it's good. Yeah. It just goes automatically, which is great. TweetAdder is a following automator, and not in a sleazy, cheesy way, but basically what I do is I find someone who has a bigger audience than me that has a similar audience to me. So someone who I know is a social media or a designer, and then what it does is pull all the followers, and then it will start to follow a few every day.
Okay.
Then if they don't follow me back after 3 or 4 days, I stop following them. So I'm growing the audience of relevant people that I know will enjoy what I have to say. And then if they are not following me back, rather than me looking like I'm following 20,000 people and only 8 are following me back, it cuts the people who aren't interested. So, and hey, you don't want to be interested, that's fine. And then you have the choice that, you're already following them, so there's no need to follow them back or check them out or anything like that. And it really keeps your it keeps your numbers growing. So that's how I do that. Social oomph I use for quotes and stuff. So I'm not just doing posts all the time. I have quotes I find from television shows and movies, stuff I think is funny. And every once in a while, I'll find one, write it down, and I'll add it to a queue. And the queue is big enough where I'm not posting the same thing every 4 days. So have it go 2 or 3 times a day, like 3 funny quotes. So between that and the automated blog feeds and my own thank yous and highs and how are yous,
Right.
posting a good 10, 11 times a day, but I'm actually only live 2 or 3 times.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not trying to. Some people say that's very inauthentic, but the way I'm describing how I'm doing it is, to me, it's still authentic. It's still people who I know put out good content.
Exactly.
They're still reflective of my personality and the things I like. I've still taken great care to make sure it's good content. I'm just not doing it every hour myself.
Right. I say there's nothing wrong with that, especially being small business owners. It's not like you have all the time in the world to be on social media.
Yes, if you're not automating and you're on Twitter that much, you have definitely put something aside that's important as far as I'm concerned. And that's, everyone can do that. So those are my best tools that I'm loving right now, because I don't love Twitter that much. I don't want to be on it that much. I like being on Facebook a lot. So those are my favorite tools. They're not necessarily my favorite channels,
Right.
but it's helping me keep up something that it's not my forte. Pinterest and Facebook are more my forte. Facebook for the social interaction, and Pinterest for the visual. And I love both. It's like loving your children differently. Like, I love them both for different reasons differently, but I love them both equally because of what they offer. So each person, I'm sure you gravitate to your things too. Like, I'm sure you have a channel. Like, what's the channel you enjoy the most and why?
I enjoy Twitter for some reason. I can't even tell you why. I don't even know what it is.
Very verbal, and it's all words. And you're
Yeah.
right. You're a writer, and that's all people writing.
Yeah.
So of course,
Maybe that explains it.
I mean, to me, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. It makes sense. You're right.
What do you like the least?
What do I like the least? I don't know. Well, up until today, I liked Pinterest the least. I'm a visual person though. I have a fine arts background and I love design. I love beautiful images, but I just didn't get it,
You're on a mission. You're a solopreneur, you work from home. Our heads are always on a mission to grow, get better. And, and how do you, and so for you, Pinterest is like, what am I going to do on that?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that makes total sense to me. And actually, there are tools in the making that will help automate those things too. So you can make all your pins at one time and then maybe post one every day, which I can't wait for that to come through. You can do campaigns, but they have to be live.
Okay.
So I'll let you know when that happens.
Great. Please do.
So
how can people find you? You've given us all this excellent information. How can they go check you out online?
badassbiz.com. And then my Facebook page is facebook.com/badassbiz, or, I friend everyone, so I'd be happy to friend you. Although if we don't have anybody in common, I'll tend to ask how you found me first. So send me a message and tell me how you found me. But it's facebook.com/jesskupferman, KUPFERMAN.
Awesome. Well, glad to talk to you today, Jess.
Thank you so much for interviewing me. Thank you. It's been great.
Yeah, and everyone go check Jess out and say hello. All right, we're going to end this. Bye.
Bye.
All right, we're done.